worst that could happen.
Tyrant.
Life is too short for fear.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift. Minions have spawned. plating will soon fall. A summoner has disconnected. A summoner has reconnected. team's turret has been destroyed. team's turret has been destroyed. Blue team's inhibitor has been destroyed.
game 2 between Exile Esports and Team Red, which is a subsidiary of, I guess, Phoenix Gaming, right? So this is game 2 of the quarterfinals. And I didn't watch first game, but I guess Exile Esports took the first game, and we're gonna be jumping into the banning phase, right? And my co-hosts are going to be, I guess, Brown Bunny and Lucky 13, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Hi everyone.
Hey guys.
Okay, so do you guys think these are targeted bans, or do you know any of these players? Have you ever seen them play?
I actually don't know any of these players, so I don't know what they play and if it's according to their like comfortable picks.
I
And
recognize three names, but that's from the TFE tournament. That's about it. I guess I've seen Team Exile play, but I don't know what they play. I know the jungler plays Assassin, Khaziks, a lot of Khaziks. But we're not. I don't know if these are targeted bans or, but they don't look like meta bans, right? Because I don't think these are like popular picks in the worlds. I mean, not the worlds, obviously LEC or LCK.
yeah, none of them are that common, like the Shaco or
Yeah,
Malzahar.
these are
Even
like niche
Malzahar,
picks.
yeah. Yeah, I think they're more targeted towards them.
Okay, so we're gonna see Aurelia banned away, right? Aurelia, Jinx, and Shaco from the side of Team Red compared to Exile. They banned Taric, Mastery, and Malzar. So Taric and Mastery were in the last game, which means they were finding it difficult to like play versus those two picks. So they decided to ban them, right? And we're gonna see Mordecai as a first pick from the blue side. And it's going to be answered by Aloy instantly and a Silas locked in. So I don't know how the matchup goes between Mordekaiser and Aloy. But I guess we'll find out. This might be a Mordekaiser mid too. We don't know so far, right? And a Silas could be jungle or mid. So already like a flex pick from blue side and a flex pick from red side. Even see a hover, so they're like saving it for the last second, and they're going for the Kazakhs. So I guess it's like pretty obvious by now. Team Exile Esports Jungler loves to play Kazakhs. I've seen him. I've seen 3 games, and all 3 games with Kazakhs. Oh, so it's I've realized it's Checo or Kazakhs. Okay, so he's like a two trick or something. Like he wants to play Kazakh Checo.
I think that's gonna be. I think that's gonna be a lot of damage from Mordekaiser and Vel'Koz in the team fights.
But Morty
But
kind of like is used to like ult people away, so you can have like more control, deny them something like a Baron or make one of their teammates go away, right? But yeah, Vel'Koz is a
Yeah,
lot
and
of
I
damage.
think
That's like
Mordekaiser can single Illaoi out so that his ult doesn't do too much damage
yeah,
to the other
Mort
people
can be
in the
used for
team
a lot of
fights.
situations. One, obviously. Mort can take Eloy with him. He can take Silas with him, so Kha'Zix can like secure
Yeah,
Baron or Dragon.
whoever's fed or a problem for the teammates.
I'm sorry, one of you has a lot of static, and it's like, can you microphone? Again, we're in the second part of the banning phase now. It's going to be a Caitlyn and a Vayne and a Tomken. So Tomken's is seeing a lot of pro play right now, right? So because I think Braum and Lister are not super good in the current meta, I guess the most contested picks are like Thresh, Nautilus, and then obviously Tom, Leon, or Rakan, I think. We're gonna see a Tomkins man. Because also because of the fact they played it last game, right? It could be because of that. Because Tom is, if you pick Tom and something like a Ashe at bot lane, it's one of those lanes where they have a lot of safety on the red side, especially. They can just farm waves, and if they get ganked or like a 4-man dive, the Tom can always like help the ADC make it out, right? They never die. So we're gonna see a Kaisa and a Nico from red team. So now it's like becoming sort of clear where they're going. So Nico's going to be mid lane, Silas is going to be well, and Kaisa bot lane. So it's like heavy magic damage comp from what it looks like, whereas Team Exile Esports comps looks a bit more balanced in terms of damage. They have a lot of true damage because of Vel'Koz's passive. We have the Ezreal, and we're gonna probably see yeah, okay. Really weird if they do it. It could be a Vel'Koz support and a cannon top. We don't know, and they could like flex the Mordekaiser to mid. But I think giving Ezreal a support that can like a Lux is really important. But I guess they choose not to. Okay. It's going to be a Vel'Koz. So this is like a Poke bot lane. What do you guys think? Any of you two play bot lane or no? About that, like, what do you guys think would be good into a Vel'Koz as well?
About
Honestly,
costs. I don't think a Nautilus would be that good actually. Well, it depends on how he plays. If he engages before they take too much damage, I think, it all depends on how they play.
actually, I believe the Nautilus pick is actually pretty smart into this matchup because provided that they're able to dodge their abilities, which is very much probable, the Nautilus can lock them down and deal a lot of damage, and Kaisa does a lot of really OP follow-ups, so it just depends on how they maneuver the lane, really.
Kai'Sa
Because
has like one of the highest base DPS in game, right? He's also the fastest Baron killer in game, right after Kog'Maw. So
I think
again,
she
if
goes
Nautilus can lock someone down, Kai'Sa can probably kill them. But for Ezreal, it's a lot of mobility, but they can probably get away with killing Vel'Koz, right? So it could be
exactly,
a good
like
thing.
over and over, like I believe if they just like maneuver around his kills and just lock him down, it's going to be a kill every time he gets either a hook or a root onto them.
Yeah.
and I think Kaisa goes pretty well with Nautilus with her Q. The burst damage is enough to get that kill when Nautilus hooks someone.
What about the other matches? What about jungle? Do you guys know much about jungle? How about top lane and mid lane? It's going to be probably Mordekaiser mid versus a Nico, so that's a melee versus range match. So should inherently have some advantage in that lane depending on how he chooses to play it, right? And Ally again is like a super oppressive lane. Can Canon deal with the Ally? We don't know. We'll see. It kind of depends on how skilled the players are and how the laning phase plays out and how the jungler's path. But yes, we'll find out. But I think normally, like at lower level of play, normally Eloy is tend to be the stronger one in the canon matchup. You should probably have some advantage in the Mordekaiser match, at least for the early game, right? Once Morty gets his item, it might turn. But again, Nico is also
I
very good into Morty because he can make Morty waste his ult on her clone, right? So that's also a good thing.
yeah.
Guess we're just gonna wait. Let's hope we don't like get a pause as just as we go in the game.
Oh man, that's like tradition now. Can't have a game without a pause.
Yeah, it's actually a tradition in like for, all of South Asia actually. Our South Asian tournaments
Exactly.
all have Sri Lanka, Indians, Bangladesh all have a pause for some reason. Start our games. I guess we have the same issues.
You gotta keep up with it, you know? It's a
Yeah, you have to uphold traditions, your cultural values, right?
exactly, yeah.
So, who do you think will get first blood in this game? Place your
I
bets actually.
I call ball lane for Nautilus and Kaisa. I just feel that it's like it's a sure first blood every time. You
I
just need
might
to get
get the
like
first
one
blood.
successful hunt.
I'll get the first blood. How about who will win this game? Like just looking at team comps, even if you don't know the player, what comps looks better?
Yeah, I'm thinking Exile. I like their team comp better.
So on paper,
Actually,
actually, red team comps like slightly better, but yeah, I think Exiles are just like individually better players. So
see with red, I feel that if they just hit it off at the beginning, I just feel they have so much potential to just maintain that lead and burst everyone on Exile. But that is also dependent on how laning goes and
that's
if
basically
they're able
gold
to get
scaling,
their
right? They
yeah.
have champions that scale really well with gold, right? So if Eli gets a small like small lead, she can turn that into a bigger one, right? Because of her kit and how she plays the lane or whatever, right? But then for a red team to win, they'd have to win almost every lane, right? So Nico needs to do well, Eloy needs to do well, and then bot lane needs to win, right? Whereas for the blue team, only like two of them need to do well, right? So if as scales into mid game has three items and Ha gets fed, like they can like pretty much like make sure they win the game, like they can team the game. Because Cannon can be a tilty, Mod can be a tilty, right? So we're gonna jump into the game straight away.
So what do you guys think about Nautilus taking exhaust instead of ignite?
So
I
you lose
prefer
the
the
kill
Ignite
pressure,
match
I think. But
heavily actually because Ignite on supports is so good right now.
Yeah.
And
I don't think exhaust will really help versus Kha'Zix because he just, one-shots you. He just pops up
Kha'Zix is
and
disgusting right now, to be honest. Just
yeah,
like does so
really.
much burst.
I think most assassins are. I think Ana, Rengar, Kha'Zix, Evelyn are pretty strong right now because of how weak everyone is, I guess. So assassins only get strong when Riot like directly buffs them or Riot indirectly buffs them like by nerfing other stuff, right? So right now, like if you look at other lanes, there are a lot of picks like a lot of squishy picks, right? That can die a lot quicker. So assassins normally tend to get OP in that kind of matter. That's why Kha'Zix is really strong, even though like I don't think we saw a lot of Kha'Zix 2 patches ago even, right?
Yeah, he kind of started coming into the meta in like 9.14 and onwards. So I've been seeing a lot of Kha'Zix in my games lately.
Probably because Night Blue made a video of
It's always
part
him.
one kill.
And we're kicking things off with a pause. So we're
Just said
upholding the
it's tradition.
tradition.
So Nautilus has an aftershock there to Vel'Koz who's running Arcane Comet. Arcane Comets, yeah, but I think if you're like choosing to Arcane Comet is okay. Compared to so Eloy has a Klepto, which is interesting because in a melee matchup you can farm a lot of gold with the Klepto, but in a range matchup it's harder to like hit your
Accumulate that. Accumulate
E.
all of that, yeah.
By rune choice is kind of weird. Like she's, I think, overconfident. But expecting to hit kill charge on cannon, which has like 550 range. We'll see how it turns out. Because these games, you never know. Actually, I've seen a lot of upsets. I've been like watching League for 9 years now, so
No, but see, that's what's always so interesting because it can go either way, and I think that's like the dynamic of it all as well makes it so incredibly engaging every time.
A summoner has disconnected.
the late game, I think I'd have to think more. Because at one side you have a lot of like utility and like targeted damage, right? With Ezreal and Kha'Zix and Vel'Koz, right? And they have utility in form of Cannon and Mort, right? On the other side, you just have like Smash, AoE, and damage, right? So for red team, they just need to win like fight. Like if they get some CC right, they'll just win the fight. Whereas blue team has to play it a lot more safe. So as the game progresses and like items start building up, I think red team's stronger in mid game or in the transition to mid to late. But when late game kicks in, I think blue team will be stronger. Because I think Ezreal and Fa with like good items and even Kennen and Mord are like super oppressive.
But I
I
think
want
if
to.
you, once again, if you revisit the Mord pick, if one of the red team members just pops off, he has the ability to isolate them. So that would be an interesting thing to see as well.
Yeah, true. That's not only why you pick Mord because that's his like main utility, right? Because I don't think his kit is good for pro play. That's why you probably don't see him in LEC or even LCS. So because he's like he's super simple, but he's like really easy to beat when you're playing good players or when you're playing. But at this level of play, he becomes really strong because people don't know how to answer a lot of stuff he does, right? But again, his like biggest utility in like competitive play is his ultimate, right? So you can basically take away the jungler or anyone that's going to be a threat and just win the fight based off of a good ult, right? But
Exactly,
then
it
again,
all depends.
yeah, but then again, there's counterplay, right? So if red team's smart enough, they can always, like, if someone gets fed, they'll always go for a QSS, right? So if they get ulted, they can just QSS back out of it. Kind of like a two-way road.
Yeah, for sure. But even like item selection, I feel at this stage would be very interesting to gauge because would they even like go for that QSS? Like I've seen a lot of players, if they do get that lead, they kind of tend to overlook it and underestimate the actual threat Mord poses, and they often try to just like optimize their damage as opposed to going that safer route.
Yeah, that's why we call them bad players.
Let's see how it goes.
Again, like if you're fed, I think especially in competitive games, if you get fed and you're like good damage dealer, right? It's always like better to go off tank and defensive options. Like you can have one damage item or two damage item, then you should think about survival, right? So that's why if you watch like pro games, like always like good ADs, right? They always like even you see them building full Moz into LeBlancs, right, and whatnot. Again, if Kaisa gets fed or like Nico gets fed, Nico would need a Zhonya's obviously. Even if Cyrus gets fed, he needs defensive options, right? If you're fed, you need to make sure you keep that advantage because if you die, you're probably giving away a lot of that gold back in terms of
Exactly,
bounty
yeah.
gold, right?
Exactly. And I feel that's what often people tend to overlook. The fact that, yeah, you're ahead, but you also have the potential to give that much back to them if they get that kill on you and if they secure that.
Not true. I don't know what the path is about.
I believe their AD has DC'd them. Yeah.
So again, like a lot of these champions aren't like something like a Canon, right? Canon, Jace, and some champions in this game, like you can play them, they're good, but they're only good if you can get really big leads, right? Otherwise, you'll just have to play. I guess he's reconnecting, able to.
But isn't Kennan's ult and engage useful even if he's behind?
So look, you can look at it two ways, right? If he's not alive, he's like if he dies before he can like even either get on top of them, it doesn't. If Cannon's behind, like he has to be ahead for his ult to be good. To have items or some sort of a good setup from team. So if his team's behind or he's behind, it doesn't work as well, right? Whereas someone, if you compare it to even someone like a Malphite, right? If Malphite's behind, it doesn't matter because Malphite will probably live through before he ults or even after the ult, right? But Cannon doesn't have that luxury, right? He needs to either have flash up or something like a Zhonya's, and if he doesn't had the Zhonya's in a dragonfire or something and he dies there, he just falls even more behind. And the next time him hitting that ultimate is like even more unlikely, right? So it kind of scales.
See, with
Okay, I
Exile's
get
comp,
you.
also with Exile's comp, what I feel is that, yeah, they have a lot of damage, but at the same time, they don't
Have a
exactly
front
have
line.
that layer of, yeah, exactly. They don't have that layer of protection on them.
So the game is resuming, right? So I guess we'll see if it... And we see a lot of pings going down, which seems like they want to cover as 5-man because they suspect that the blue team's going to invade, right? I guess we're gonna see a level 1 Clown Fiesta probably, hopefully. I like really bloody games, right? Because that's like what's more pleasing to viewers.
Exactly. It's like action's always welcome.
They're gonna run into them.
30 seconds until minions
Probably.
spawn.
That's the good stuff.
Oh, so they go for the invade and oh, they're there. Huh? They're just waiting patiently because they know one of them is going to walk from that direction and probably turn it into a kill. That's like really smart from blue team because they know, but the red team doesn't know. They have the advantage of them knowing what. Yeah, and they just walk into them. Okay.
There we go.
Cannon will get the first blood. Actually, a lot of stuff
Exactly.
going down. I can't actually like see even what's happening, right? So everyone's just spamming right click, getting what abilities, whatever they can. Someone puts down. No one puts down their ward, I think, right? And blue team
Yeah,
ends
they
up
did.
getting 3 kills for 1. Okay. So that's going to be almost...
Oh,
Okay,
They
that's
they
going to be.
just, they
Nice
just gave up
lead.
too much.
That's like almost 800 gold for the cannon, right? So cannon now just recall, goes back top with 800 gold, and he goes for an Amton, which is like really disturbing. This is like the worst items he could buy after getting that lead. He could have won that lane if he spent that gold right. That lane would be over because of how much a lead he would have. But the Amton is like kind of okay. So normally he should have went for a health, right? So at level 1, level 2, in laning phase, health is the most valuable stat because it wins you every trade, right? So if you have
Nautilus
150,
just got a hook in and Ezreal had to flash out.
they chunk down as well, right? So again,
That's
health is
another.
like super important early game. They're landing a bit of perk, Nautilus flips the second hook, okay? But they had the level 2 advantage and end up going for it. They didn't really have the advantage on the cash side yet.
No, but they still managed to get that flash
Yeah.
out of us. So it's this.
So
this
next
is-
time Ezreal makes a mistake and his E is down, he probably won't live, right? So that's probably good.
Exactly, so they've just like accumulated that advantage ball lane. And that's what we were expecting going into this matchup, but once again, Vel'Koz is getting that poke in, so unless they manage to evade that, they're going to give up what they claim.
Yeah, because
Kai'Sa is
they're not
pretty
even
low.
running TP on the Kai'Sa, right? So it's not like Kai'Sa can just go back, teleport back and eat the wave. She has to stay. And if she decides to stay, she can probably die because of the poke from Vel'Koz and Ezreal, right? And I don't think Nautilus can do anything about it at this point.
She has a health pot and she's healing up right now. She can just farm safely under tower, I guess.
But she'll still lose some CS because of how low she is, right? Like I think blue team gets a really big lead off of that. I think Nico playing quite aggro versus the Mordekaiser and same for Cannon at top. The Cannon is playing super aggressive, the Nico from the red side is playing super Cannon mainly because he got that early game lead. And you can see how that lead, because he didn't only get the gold, he also got the XP. So if you get 2 kills and an assist, you basically have enough XP that you'd level up from 6 minions instead of 7, right? So most people don't know this, so he probably hit level 2 off of the 6 lead and probably used that. That's why Elia has to TP back.
Kennon's just gonna keep bullying her out of lane at this point because he's like forced so many, like a lot of summoners out of her and also like experience. So I think if he just like keeps that up, that's a 1 lane.
That's gonna go really well for. Actually, bot lane's going super well for bot lane too. Nautilus ends up landing the hook on Vel'Koz, cancelling the recall. We might see a summoner burn here, but no, Nautilus walk away.
Kaz is
See-
going in for a gank at mid. And they get the kill.
I didn't really see how Kha'Zix spotted there, but I guess Nico walked up a bit too far in lane. Have like vision around the Raptors for Kha'Zix, and Kha'Zix ends up getting kill because of it. Oh, not Kha'Zix, sorry, it's Mordekaiser got the kill.
See, once again, like when you're putting that much pressure in your lane, you need to have your jungle support because if you're just going to play that aggressively, of course they're going to have to answer back.
So basically, if you spot the enemy jungler on the map somewhere, right? If you are the jungler, you basically have to do something on the opposite side of the map, or something like to put pressure or relieve pressure off the map, right? There's only 2 ways to play League. Either you put pressure on the map, or either you relieve pressure off of your team. So if you're not doing either, you're probably doing something wrong, right? But Sylas is like one of those junglers who can do much early on, especially with lanes like these. This game start, that was like this, right? So it was a really bloody start. Now I see Cannon with 100 health staying in.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna comment on.
Yeah, that's because Elia went back, TP'd and bought the Ruby Crystal, right? So she had more health. We're gonna see a ult at mid from Mordekaiser.
He has a long sword as well.
And
So
he
again-
forced the flash out mid, so Nico just expended
Is it better
flash
now?
there. Yeah.
Basically, Cannon used the teleport in early game to get to top, but if he hadn't, right, and he matched the teleport from Eloy, he would still be winning his lane, but it kind of now gets Eloy some space in lane to do what she just did and made Cannon go back.
I also think that Kennen used his aggression a little unwisely because he was essentially trying to poke her down as much as possible, and when you're playing Illaoi, especially within minions, you can answer back most of the time.
Yeah, you can.
Well,
actually.
Kennen still has the CS lead and I guess EXP lead.
Yeah, he'll always have the lead because he was up 700 gold when the game started, right? But if like Eloy is catching up like that, because Eloy is stronger in this matchup, right? So Eloy is supposed to win this matchup normally, unless like Cannon gets fairly fed or has a lot of fight. Ha just flashes in for the kill on the Silas. They probably spot him at and tracks him down, and flashes jumps in for the walks away. They see a all-in from Cannon on the Eloy actually, and Eloy just falls down to 40% health, doesn't end up dying. Kha'Zix is walking top. Let's see if they can turn this into a kill or Eloy can do something. Eloy misses the E and just ends up dying. That was kind of anticlimactic.
It's
Right?
pretty
Yeah.
convenient how Kha'Zix is always around to help his teammates out when there's something going on.
Yeah, but
I think he's
it's like a
doing
team game,
pretty
right? So
well.
it's normally planned. And I think the Velka's DC'd
Yeah,
or he got
Velka's
CC'd.
probably. No, he was just like stuck. I believe that was a DC because he just completely stopped moving, allowed not to root him, and ended up dying. Ezreal also used his heal, by the way. I think we should mention that as well.
That's a big deal actually. So this is really weird to me. None of the ADCs are playing teleport in this tournament. Like especially when you're playing champs like Ezreal and Kai'Sa, you kind of need to, especially on red side. So Nika walks up top looking for the kill on Cannon, and Cannon just flashes out of safety.
I believe
Want to
she
win this
also
game.
missed. He also sidestepped the
Yeah, that
Nico
route.
stun. So yeah.
The first drake in the game is air drake. Who do you guys think like benefits more from the air drake? Like which bit more?
Yeah, I think Team Red with the Kai'Sa movement.
Your team
Movement
is,
speed
would like
and-
benefit far like way more because it would help Kennen position better. It would help Ha with
Kha'Zix can
invisibility.
just move around the map.
It
and
can
do what
help
he's
Nico
doing.
with her ult, setting up her ult.
Nico slowed down, so when Nico ults, she just slows down, so like it doesn't help as much. With her
No,
W,
I mean
it's
she
good.
can use her
Yeah.
W. Yeah,
To get
I
there,
meant
to
she
get
could
there,
use
yeah.
her
That
W to
makes
get
sense.
in.
We're gonna see another gank from Kha'Zix, so are they going to commit? They choose not to because Marty was super low and Kha'Zix didn't want to give away. That might be a 1-for-1.
They're-
So 1-for-1 in their case is not that good. Again, what do you think about items? So we don't have any finished items. It's only 10 minutes in game. Only when you start to see first items around 12 minutes.
Well, Kennen has a Hexa.
Yeah, because
belt.
Kevin got the 2 kills and assists, and same for Kha'Zix,
Yeah,
he got
of
2
course.
kills. Of course, they're going to have it. The Nico ends up killing the Mordekaiser. Okay, that's solo kill. Morty like overextended safe with like 250-300 health in lane. Nico just comes back and
And
ends up
just
getting a
takes.
free kill.
Kha'Zix
That
just
was a
triggered
very
the
good
Cloud Drake.
While that was happening at mid, Kha'Zix just sneaks a free Drake. That really helps the blue team. Now Ha can like roam around the map really fast. Ha jumps in while Kuz just ults to make sure Ha can make it out. 50.
I believe that wasn't the wisest thing to do by the red team because they were just trying to.
Oh,
walk
that was a
in their
close
jungle,
one.
Yeah. But once again, I wouldn't like imagine
Silas
them
barely
to just pack
survived.
that in, yeah.
Yeah, because the blue team, the only reason blue team was there because if they wanted something, right? So they could get plates from bot or their blue off, right? So I think Ha had the intention of taking that blue off, that's why they went back in. Red team tried to retaliate, but they're really weak right now. They go for an all-in at bot lane.
Lawless trying to force a play.
So that exhaust actually ends up helping them kill the Ezreal there, by the way. So they get a free pick on Exile because the Exile didn't have his heal up yet, and he chooses not to flash. I don't know why that is, right? I don't know why he's saving his flash because they're setting up a team fight anytime. I don't know about, but okay. So Exile already has his mana mune and he's going for, I don't know if he's gonna go for Triforce or the Iceman Gauntlet, but once he hits that power spike, he's going to be really annoying to deal with. Alden again on the Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser just ults and takes her to the death realm, and he ends up getting the solo kill on the Nico. And now it's going to be a 1v1 between Mordekaiser and Silas.
It's also good to note that Nico has flashed as well. So he also forced a summoner out of her, but he flashed back. Kha'Zix picked up his third kill there. He's going to be very annoying now.
But I think blue team's going to be in a really big lead in this game, right? So it's going to be just a matter of how well they play from this point forward and how they want to like end this game. But I highly doubt that red team will be able to make a good comeback from the spot they're in.
I think the blue team is just playing well. I don't think the 2 kills early game impacted a lot in the game.
Because the could have won that lane.
Yeah, Ilawi is being very forceful, but I think just now the flash mid lane, the teleport mid lane will also end up impacting the advantages she was accumulating, because that's gonna put her so far behind now, I feel. And they're just like roaming around the map, bullying them now.
True. Because now, if Cannon's ahead, once he the top turret's down, Cannon will have a lot more space to help out his team, but Aloy can't because she'll be playing catch up, right? Because she'll be behind in items and Cannon has already got that gold and XP. They can just set up plays with his team, whereas Aloy is forced to stay in a side lane and play catch up and hopefully TP in the right place, right time, and still be able to salvage if Cannon goes for engage or something. But Aloy is still playing super aggressive.
She definitely is, but she, once again, I believe the TP she's given up now, that's going to take off the pressure she could have potentially put in another lane. Because I think if they could potentially play off Ilawi, it would have been... I think it's one of the things they could have done, but just expending that TP would put them so far behind now.
But if she tries to save it, she kind of falls behind in her own lane even more. So I think she's trying to play a bit selfish because she's really been trying to get back in the game. Because she doesn't have even her gauge covered, right? And Kenan is already onto his he has boots finished and a proto bird, right? So he probably has gold for another recipe component of his second item. Yeah, he already has 1200 gold. So is super behind. So if you're that behind, it's really risky to go for a TP play. It could work, right? You can do a miracle play and it could make you come back in the game, but it's
Silas getting a gank in at bot lane. And Ezreal just escaped that one with his
Just flashes away. This time he decided to use his flash super early and flashes to safety. Silas gank ends up out. Right now, it feels like two teams bot lane, even actually almost all lanes are doing really well, even the Kha'Zix. Not looking good for the red team. Right? Elias finally going to finish his Sterix Gauge. Do you think Sterix Gauge was a good item choice versus the team comp blue team has? Because I don't really know.
I'm not too sure as well.
I don't know. I think they're more magic heavy damage, so I think more I don't think you can go first item. Heart tries to greed for a kill, goes in and ends up giving a shutdown over to Kaifa. This is interesting to say the commits for the kill because he thought he could probably get away with it and saying that kind of helps enemy bot lane because now Kai'Sa is going to a nice cheeky prey from Silas forces the heal from Exile. walks up to him and kill him potentially. Eloy is still doing super well in this matchup. That's how you know if Kennen didn't have the skills, it just could be opposite lane, right? Like Eloy is doing super well.
I think Kha'Zix will go in for a gank at top, because he will greed for the tower. Alawi will greed for the tower.
Yeah, Kha'Zix is passing top, so I guess so, because it's a standard lane swap, right? They got the turret at bot lane with Ha in the bot lane, so now the lane swap's happening. So all four of them will not, right?
Yeah.
Now the lane swap's going to turn into another turret, right? Whereas Morty just 1v3 at mid lane, showing how strong he is, and how this ends up getting a free kill on the Silas, who chased down too far for the Mordekaiser.
Do you think Mord is balanced as he is right now?
I think Mord's a really bad champion. It's like at lower MMRs, people don't really know how to play against Mordekaiser. And like at Challenger, like Mord has like a 22 or 23% win rate, I think. Mord's not a good champion. He's good at like, so like something like you can like compare him to like Soraka, Mastery, Volibear, right? So these champions work super well at lower like MMRs, right? Because normally people don't know how to play against them, right? But the higher you go, the worse they get. So Mord's like one of those champions, right? So like till D2, D1, he works really well, but after that, not so much. At this MMR, obviously Mord like might look unbalanced, but I think he's okay. I don't think his kit's like broken or anything.
No, I do agree, because if you can, like, there's only so much he can do, and people tend to think that if there's a Mord in the game, it's just like GG for the other team, but it's honestly not. There's a lot you can do to still keep him to the side, I feel.
Yeah, that's like people complaining about other people that try and playing mastery in the game, right? So like, why are you mad about something that's already in the game? Like, if people are playing, it's okay, right? So if it's in the game, it's probably okay to play it, right? Hate on them. Mord has 2 items finished. Cannon's going for the second one as well. I think Cannon's going for Death Cap, if I'm not wrong. I don't know actually. Could be anything. It could be a spellbind. But Ha almost has his Dust Blade. Valkas has the Leandries as well, so blue team has a lot of items compared to the red team. But only you see Luden's Echo finish on Echo and Storm Razor on Kaisa. Kaisa is super far away still from the Wraith Blade. Not a lot of items completed.
Also, the mid turret is just like a hit away from falling, so
Yeah,
they're just gonna get.
Team are gonna get their third tower.
So they just break the outer circle for the red team. That means they have a lot of control over the Baron
On the
and
map.
the river, right? So the red team can't contest the river anymore. If they walk up, they'll probably risk trying. Let's see a random engage from Nautilus going in and the ally. Actually, it was not it was alive. So fight breaks out, and Marty just ends up cleaning house. They jump back in, takes one guy to death sense, and going to be 3 kills for the blue team. So again, I think it's fair to say the game's over at this point.
Yeah, they're
Just a
also
matter of how
like
blue team
taking
wants to
turtles
win.
out now, so that's like another turret for them.
I think if they used the Herald slightly better, they could have gotten 2 turrets off of it, but they might only get
Definitely.
1 now. Azul reaches for the kill and ends up paying for it with his life. Nico
Yeah,
goes
that
in.
was actually very unnecessary, because they could just have just kept pushing down mid. They didn't really need to go in for that.
True.
But they're gonna get it anyway, because they're just so far ahead at this point that everything's for them for the taking.
Cannon just, I guess he didn't, he walked from bot lane after tier 2 and just ults and deletes Silas and makes them fly walk away and getting exhausted, not just trying to chase them down, but they're gonna let go and walk away. But as meanwhile, Ha is picking up a free Drake. Have a third Drake, probably a free
Another.
Baron. I don't
Yeah,
think the red
another
team
in
can
the
contest the Baron.
cloud. 'Cloud.
the third.
At this point, even the shutdowns that they gave back, I don't think they're gonna help them out as much because they're just so far ahead right now. Look
So
at that
for
smoke
red
from
team to win,
Ezreal
blue
and
team would have to
Vel'Koz.
throw like 3 or 4 times in succession for them to just come
Exactly,
back.
yeah.
Right,
Dominating.
back from this point.
Baron is up also, so honestly at this point everything is just here for the blue team's taking. Exile
And
can very
like it's their
easily,
choice how they want to win,
yeah.
right? They want to do it in
Exactly.
style, they want to like go for a mini throw, then come
There
back
we
behind
go.
or whatever, right? It's up to
Yeah,
them.
but they're starting Baron, which is pretty much expected at this point. It's going
Because-
to be very free. They can't.
They just want a quick, clean ending.
Yeah, because Baron has some skills, they can take down inhibitors, right? And then just probably end the game with the super minion. Here's something like bad teams do, and not bad teams, but teams that aren't super good in the competitive scene, right? So they could stack waves at top lane. If you random fight break out at the Raptors, and that's a lot of damage from the Ezreal ultimate on the Kaisa. She could have died, and Ezreal picked.
And there
Was it a
he
blind
just
kill?
goes in to clean that up.
Kha'Zix end up flashing, Nico whiffs her ultimate. Not whiffs, but Kha'Zix kind of dodges it out. And Ezreal playing
There-
super aggressive.
yeah.
Ezreal just trying to clean house and going super in. His team isn't even
Yeah.
able to follow up. And I guess he goes a bit
Yeah.
too far. Flashes out.
Luckily, he had his flash and he was able to survive that Alawi.
I guess they get double. I think this is game, right?
I
So they
think
get
this
both
is
moves.
GG, yeah. I believe that they can just.
So I don't know if it's a best of 3 or a best of 5. This is going to be a game 3. It just... Okay, so Team Exile Esports probably qualify, right? That means for the
Yeah.
semifinals. That's good. McKinnon had that death cap. They all had like really good items. They go for the safe ending. They're just gonna back off, reset, come back, and then end the game. Which is probably better because they could give up a lot here. They have a lot of bounties still. 3 of them had bounties, right?
Yeah, there's a bounty on Ezreal, Kha'Zix, as well as Kennen. 400, 400, and 150. Also, they don't really need to like force that at mid. They can just like take that last wave and end it.
Like they can just walk bot right now, strive, take the third and head.
Exactly, yeah.
Mark's just going for a end play. Okay, he's like, I'm gonna end. Okay, or not.
He wants spell points.
Yeah. He wants to
I'm
win
gonna
this one.
1v5.
No, because I'm level 16 and they are level 12 and 13, so why not? You know, let's give it a
There
shot.
you go.
For the frags, for the plays.
Wow.
Pays in. There you go.
And this is going to be, yeah, hopefully game this time, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's
because he
GG
was
now.
level 16 with all those items, what do you mean? He's supposed to kill 3. He's supposed to kill all of them, actually. With the items and the XP lead he has, he should be able to kill more. Get that one. Alright, so this is going to be red team Nexus going down and I'll pop off but again Exile Esports will take the game 2 and will head to the
And they
semifinals.
also qualify.
So again guys, this was fun casting. Sucks.
Well played to
Go
both
Casters.
teams. And
GG,
thank you guys for watching.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
So damage wise, how did Ezreal Mord did a lot in the Mord? I think the on like 5,000 or 6,000 of Mord's damage come from the last play he did, right? I think that has to be it because I don't think Mord did that much damage all over
No,
the game.
but Mord was taking those 2v1s a lot, and he was
Yeah, but
coming on top as well. But yeah,
he
I
didn't
agree.
really
Like,
have items back then, right? That 6 or 8,000 damage comes from the last thing he did.
Yeah, that 1v5 he just went in for.
But we already did